telling this story in order to share with other women the little signs a lot of us overlook because, like, oh, he's cute, or oh, you know, like, maybe, I don't know, we make excuses. But it's the little signs over time that end up putting you in a situation where you have no control, and it's so scary. Like, some of the shit that was going on, I didn't realize, like, the seriousness of it, or I didn't realize, like, yeah, bitch, he actually looks at your locations. We had our locations turned on, like, on our phones, just so, I don't know, because fucking trust issues, that's why, and control issues, that's why. But I didn't know that he actually checked that, like, more than once a day, until one of his coworkers told me that he would, like, be on his phone, or, you know, check to see where I was at, like, multiple times during the day or whatever, and it's just silly. I created an outline. I didn't get the whole story down, but I basically filled front and back of a page, half of another page, before I was just like, oh my god, like, I can't include all of this.
But at least
I'd be talking for hours if I told the whole story, and all just, like, the shit that we went through. And it wasn't just fucked up shit. That's all I'm gonna be talking about, because that's all people really need to, like, learn to be aware of, in a sense.
You just need to look for the signs, sister. If he seems creepy, sister, he's probably creepy, sister. He's probably creepy, sister.
Even if he is cute.
Even if he is cute. And Paul, I thought you could do so much. He was...
Like, what attracted me to Paul? The father figure in my life fell under this category of kind of being a cowboy, but being a working man, and blah, blah, blah. And, like, he wanted to provide for the family, and wanted to let my mom be able to take care of the kids, and, you know, blah, 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 and do all these things. So, like, that's what I grew up as seeing as the kind of lifestyle that possibly I would live. And this is me thinking back from being a 23-year-old woman. I'm almost 24, and that sounds kind of cool.
Yeah.
So, me looking back, knowing what I know now, and seeing my childhood. Just so you're aware. I didn't know about all these underlying subconscious things that go through your brain that you're learning as a, like, you know what I mean? We don't know about these things while they're being engraved into our brains.
Here's the thing, though. This guy was, I don't know, he got us crazy.
He got us good. He tricked us. He played us.
So from my perspective, things were great. They had moved in together. He seemed like he really cared about her. She really cared about him. They were living together, like, having a great time. And then something happened, and he just, like, flipped a switch, and one day just started, like,
he just clicked.
Really weird, and really clingy, and really kind of watching her.
I don't know why.
Watching where she's going.
I think he saw where I was going. He
didn't like that she worked out.
He told me once that, like, oh, if you're going to spend 2 hours in the gym a day, you're with the wrong man. But, like, he just saw that I was surpassing his level of, like, okay, this is the kind of girl I can get. I started learning more, blah, 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 and, like, you know, he was catching on to that, and, like, obviously, like, lifting more, and he saw literally, like, how strong I was in the gym, and how I was, like, my bum was getting bigger. He got to where he would tell me that my butt looked small.
That's crazy.
That's a no-no. No-no.
Anyways, he started getting weird. I knew that he wanted to marry you. He was planning on proposing to her this past summer. And I told her that he told me that, and I said, girl, you better make sure he's what you want. And
the first big fight I remember, and this is when I literally like called Libby crying, because I need to get the fuck out of that house. Like, at this point, I think
What started that fight?
So this is a good long story I'm gonna tell. I'm at work one night and I call him and talk to him like, oh hey, like I'm gonna work out when I get off because I did this, and this at home before I even came into work. And he was like, oh okay, well I'll come up there and work out with you. So like beforehand though, he had some friends over, which I thought maybe like 2 or 3 guys were there. Do you know who I'm referencing?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then, so he ends up showing up to the gym later that night and smells like alcohol a little bit. And I'm just like, that's funny. Like, so we're working out, blah, blah, blah. He does maybe like 2 exercises and then just kind of goes and starts talking to one of the maintenance guys. While I'm working out, whatever. And he's talking to that guy for like, good 5 to 10 minutes, honestly. And I'm just like, dude, like, what do you, like, it's weird. It's so weird. I feel uncomfortable just telling this story, like, because I'm putting myself back in that place. And it's so weird. And then, you know, he does a couple more exercises and then comes up to me and is like, oh, I'm tired, da-da-da. Like, I'm going to go home and sleep. And I'm like, okay, whatever. Like, I'm going to finish my workout. Well, then he texts me not even 5 minutes later, basically saying like, oh, hey, I'm in the elevator, blah, 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 blah. I'm going to lay down and nap, whatever. And I was like, for him to get from inside the gym, standing inside the gym talking to me, to where we, like, in the elevator where we live, that takes at least 10 to 15 minutes. So I knew he was lying, and I was like, oh, send a pic, winky face. And then he's like, starts an argument with me basically, and then I was like, fine, I'm just going to come back and get you. So he comes back. I do a few more things, so I probably leave him sitting in the car for like 5 to 10 minutes. And then we get back to the apartment, and I walk in the apartment, and it smells of cigarette smoke. And I'm just like, what the fuck? And I flip shit, because we live in a unit where you're not even supposed to smoke cigarettes. But that was something that, like, I would not let come into my life. I didn't want to smoke cigarettes. I didn't want my partner to smoke cigarettes. And since it was something new, I knew it was something that I did not have to accept into the relationship. Mm-hmm. That's something from the beginning I told him I did not do. I didn't want that in my life at all. And so that just triggered a lot. We ended up staying up all night, fighting that whole night. I don't know if I found out that he had done cocaine that night or if we ended up talking about that later. But yeah. And then the next, like, 4 a.m., he'd gotten no sleep and has to leave for work. So he leaves for work, and I finally go to sleep. And the day before, Libby and I had planned on me coming over to her house. So I was like, okay, I'm going to get up at 11 a.m. because he won't be home until whenever. And then grab my bag and go to Libby's and hang out and just spend some time apart. But I wake up around like 10 or 11, and then he's home in like 20, 30 minutes. Yeah. And basically, to sum up the long story, because I was going to leave and go hang out with you, he was like, no, like, don't leave, you're not going to leave, blah, 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 basically giving me that. And I was like, okay, so there was a point where he was standing between me and my bag, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to trick this guy. There's an elevator here, and we had lived just across the hall from the staircase. So I'm going to go to the elevator, get in the elevator, hope that I can get in and get down before he gets down, you know, like get down before he gets there and hops in it with me, and then go up, you know, down the hall, up the stairs, and get in the apartment, grab my bag, and go, or some shit like that. Like, I thought I could outsmart him, but his ass gets in the elevator with me. And, like, it's just obviously, like, at this point, if we were fighting, like...
Hell no, I would be out of that bitch.
Yeah, if we're fighting like this, like, obviously there's some verbal abuse and mental abuse and, like, you know, like, some hateful words being said that didn't need to be said. And that's, first of all, why I was trying to leave the apartment, because we had been up all night fighting. It was just stupid. We were not getting anywhere. He gets in the elevator with me, and it's just, like... talking shit to me the whole time.
What, like saying what? Talking shit, like what's he
saying? I don't
saying?
even remember. Like, I try not to remember. I really try not to remember. And then eventually, like, he decides to... Oh, once he gets back up to the apartment, he gets there before me and locks me out of the apartment. And then... So I pace the stairs for a little bit, pace the hallway, sit on the stairway, da-da-da, give it as much patience as I can. And then I knock on the door. And then I knock again, and I'm just like, okay, dude, like, it's been plenty of time, like, just let me in. And I probably sound crazy at this point, too, which I know, I feel the crazy coming out in me at this point, before I saw.
He walked you out of the appointment with
I had no phone, no shoes, no
Mm-hmm.
keys, no nothing. I felt like, okay, if there's ever a time that I, like, have nothing,
It's now.
it's now.
If I've ever hit rock bottom, it's now.
I turn around, I'm standing at the door, I turn around and I'm just kind of like, oh shit, hey, there's a fire extinguisher. Fire extinguisher.
Or
Fire extinguisher. There is a fire extinguisher. I can't even say that right. And I grabbed the thing, and we had one of those handles where it's kind of like a hook. So I grabbed the fire extinguisher, and I'm like, you know what? Boom! 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 I thought by, like, when he heard that, he would, like, come open the door and be like, okay, this bitch is serious, like, like, let her in. I just was like, okay, I'm gonna, like, just put my weight on this and, like, bust the thing up, like, get it to open it, walk my ass in, and, like, I can only imagine what this must have looked like. Like, we were just
I'm
two
trying to
stupid
picture
ass
it.
crazy people fighting over nothing, over what could have not been a fight. And then I go in, I don't know when or how or why, but he decides to leave. And at this point, I'm worried that he's gonna, like, get in a car and drive and do something stupid. But then I'm just like,
He
you know
does that
what, whatever.
later.
I go inside and I'm just like, you know what? I call Libby. Like, I call Libby and I'm like, Libby, I'm like packing my shit and I'm gonna come over and I'm gonna have to stay there. He locked me out of the apartment. Like, he locked me out of my fucking apartment. I had no phone, no shoes, no keys. And I'm crying. And then Libby starts to cry.
And I'm all like, do I need to bring a gun?
Do I need
What you got in your car? I have a Glock 17 in my car with 317 mags, and I'm ready to go. So if any crazy ex-boyfriends of Allison's want to come up here, I will fucking shoot your kneecaps off. Alright, buddy?
No, it's fine. Like, I'm just gonna get out, like, and whatever, as quick as possible. So I get my shit packed and then he comes back. But I think maybe I don't know, like, he ended up, this time he decided it was okay for me to leave, and that, like, it's probably better off if I leave. I think he called my dad and talked to my dad or something.
Yeah, he did do that.
But even after he helped me take my bags from, like, our apartment into the elevator down to my car, like, he still tried kind of, like, standing behind the car and throwing a little pity party.
Did he
And
cry?
like, oh, I'm sure. I moved out, and, like, we were okay at this, like, we were still able to talk, but I wasn't living with him, and that was what's best. So I scheduled a therapy session for both of us. Mine was as soon as I got out of school, and then his was right after. Well, I go to my therapy session, and that day, he just so happens to, like, mess up at work, and basically, like,
Got
he didn't know
fired.
it at this point. Yeah, he didn't know it at this point, but he got fired that day. Doesn't come to the session, and that's when I kind of know, like, that was him, like, there was more to it than just he didn't show up to the session. That's all I'm gonna say. Fast forward a few nights later, like, Libby showed me a video. What did you show me a video on? This is interesting. About that one girl.
Jodi
who
Arias.
basically-
Shit.
Libby
That-
thought some shit like that was gonna go down.
Travis, I still think that could happen. That's not out of the view yet. Not
Yeah.
quite. Jodi Arias and Travis Alexander, if you know anything about murder stories, about, like, scorned lovers or, like, stories like that, that's, like, up there with the modern day kind of, like, Fatal Attraction. So, fast forward to your
the
graduation.
night of my graduation, just my graduation in general rolls around.
And this was like, with everything, you moved out by now.
Yes.
She was out. She was living in a house with 2 other friends.
Okay, he stayed the night before the day, like the night before my graduation, he'd stay the night. So we got to spend that time together, and blah, blah, blah. Like, he ends up showing up, and then he's texting me during the ceremony. And, like, I texted him back a couple times, but then I was just like, okay, I'm not going to, like, text you anymore. Like, you don't need my attention, or I don't need to give you my attention, is how I was thinking.
Yeah, because the day was about you.
Yeah.
Butler. So I would challenge you to serve others now. Share your education and its benefits, not.
And then he throws a little fit, basically saying like, ugh, I'm gonna leave, da da da. And I was like, okay, whatever. So I turned my phone off. We meet up after the graduation, go to dinner with my family, so he got to spend that time with me. And then my grandma couldn't make it to my graduation because she was sick. So we go over to grandma's house, hang out with her, you know, talk, and then I decide like, or he actually mentioned like, oh, we should take a nap or whatever, like. He was trying to get kinky, and I was trying to nap, though, because I had girls' night to look forward to and needed to get rested up for, basically. So we go in my dad's room to take a nap, and he tries to get kinky with me. I'm like, no, especially not in Grandma's house in the middle of the day, like, no. And then he ends up, like, leaving a hickey, big-ass hickey on my neck right here. That was annoying because
it was like a mark of territory.
Yes.
It was like, I'm going to leave my mark on you so no one else wants to fuck with you.
Yes.
And everyone else is going to think you're just a hoe.
And then I end up deciding, like, I'm going to take my mom and my sister and niece to go watch a movie. So we do that while he does whatever. And I was like, oh, but by the way, like, I want to take the Honda, the nice car, because I want my mom to get to ride in it. And also, I wanted to get to drive around that night when we went out for girls' night and just look hot in a fucking 2018 Honda Accord. Because I felt like a bad bitch in that thing. Fast forward, we're out doing the girl thing, we're at dinner, and he starts texting me, asking if he can have one drink with me, you know, to celebrate. And then he starts texting my friends because I said no, and like trying to convince them even.
And we were like, no, just leave her alone, you idiot.
Doesn't leave us alone. Eventually we just kind of, I guess, ignore him.
And this is where I get psychic, bitches.
Yeah.
So
we go over this place, Pump House.
So I tell her, I'm like, somehow he knows where we're going to be.
30 minutes after she says this, one of his friends that he was out with that night, we see him in the club while we're going to another part of the club, like making our way to go outside. And I look up at this, dude, and I'm like, please don't tell me that Paul is here. And he's like, oh, nobody's on his way. And I was like, okay, do not tell him that you saw me.
What do you think he did? He told him.
We're sitting outside. Oh my god, that's gonna be hilarious. We're sitting outside in the furthest corner away from the building in the dark where we can. And then, not even 5 minutes later, we see him and his buddy, who like walk around, you know, and are looking up the whole way, like scoping the place out, got their heads up, chest out, like trying to size somebody up, like dumbass little, I don't know.
And
then
they
did it
see
again.
us.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did it again. They fucking went
Did
around
you make eye
again.
contact with him the first time they came around or the second?
Oh yeah,
time?
I was like,
we
fuck
sat
you
out
mean
there.
you're here? Get
Yeah.
out. Go away.
We sat out there for another like 5 to 10, maybe even 20 minutes, just chatting, and he even told one of the like guys working there, like, oh yeah, her crazy ex-boyfriend's here. He was like, oh no, I need to kick him out, like, and we're like, oh no, not yet. Maybe. Oh. So once we go back inside, it was clear. The coast was clear. He was gone. Whatever. I don't know. What
And then we're walking back to the car.
See, what I want to know is when did the car get fucked up? When did my car get fucked up? Y'all will
during this
later.
time.
I feel like between the time he left the club, like after he saw us,
Just
he
get back to
decided-
this later. Shut up.
Okay, next thing you know, we are ready to leave Pump House because it's like 11:30, 11:45.
No, it was like 1. It was like
Or no, that's what I meant. 1:30.
1:30 because it closes.
They're about to,
Yeah.
they're about to kick everybody out. So we're like, we're gonna get going so we don't have to, rush and be in all the madness.
And I literally just something hit me, and I was just like, he's gonna be at that car.
I want you to tell this part.
He's gonna be at that car. And I was like, yeah. All right, let's go see. So we are walking back to the car, and sure enough, he's sitting at the sidewalk right in front of the car. And I remember we were in the club, and he kept trying to call you. And we were like fucking around.
Really answer the phone.
Yeah, and I was like, sorry, she's not in right now. Like, we were fucking with him, and he was really upset about that. So I was like, if he starts raising his voice or something, it's going down. And I'm yelling timber because I am going to fuck his ass up. Mind you, this guy's like 6'5". No exaggeration. He is like 6'4" or 6'5". And I'm 4'11". But I had had enough. I had had it up to here. I was drowning in how much I've had. So, I just kind of started yelling at him. And I was like, I'm going to call the police.
I'm going to call the fucking cops, dude.
Yeah, I was like, I'm going to call the police. Like, I've had it. Like, this is crazy. Anyways,
call the police.
Call him. And I was like, okay, bitch, I will. So I did. And,
he starts walking off.
Yeah, he walks off down the street. Anyways,
a cop that she knows gets there.
Yeah, a cop that I know gets there, and he's like a very seasoned older cop, and he immediately knows kind of what's going on. But I don't really think he knew how crazy it was.
Yeah,
I just don't think he was trying to escalate the situation.
Yeah, he was trying to stay calm and chill. Like, yeah. I don't know, he was just feeling it out.
Good for him. And so we ended up giving Paul back his car. Allison got all her stuff out of her car, and the police officer
out of his car. I got my car keys to my car, and he told the officer, like, oh, it's parked at our apartment. Like, she knows where it's at.
Yeah, so this officer drives us and takes us to the apartment. And before, we're just talking and chit-chatting, and we pull up, and before we even notice, the officer was like, what happened to your car? And the whole side of the car, not to say that it was a nice car.
I would have driven it before this happened.
And the whole side of the car is scraped.
From the front bumper to the back.
From the front bumper,
like
someone
like
just
a freaking monster took its claw and just...
Yeah, the mirror is gone. Not around the area, it's gone.
And one thing we noticed once we got out of the car was that the mirror wasn't like, we started going through different scenarios in our heads of what could have happened.
Like, what happened? If someone was
his ass was, okay, side note, because while you were thinking about, side note, his ass was like outside in the parking lot. He had beat us there. But he didn't go up to the apartment and like mind his own business. No, he was out at the car, like walking around his car. And then comes over when we get there and is like, oh, like, what is it? Acting like he didn't know.
What person, if someone comes and hits your car, do you think they're going to stick around to get down, grab the mirror, and take it with them?
No.
No. And he was trying to say that he didn't hit the car. Someone came and must have scraped up against it when it was parked there. No. You hit this car when you were driving somewhere else.
Like he used the car. He hit something with the car.
So anyways, that night ends. They kind of officially broke up that night.
Yes.
That was my official breakup.
That was my last.
There was a lot of words.
And he could just tell. Like, he could just tell. He didn't even question it after that. But that's not where he stopped, like, doing creepy things. He would, like, on different occasions, he, like, showed up to the house I lived and just, like, sat outside. One time he egged my roommate's cars because I wasn't there. Okay, and this is the next, I guess, story. One night I get home from hanging out with someone, and of course, it was a boy, but it wasn't even...
And this is weeks later, though, bro. Like, this wasn't, like, the first few days. This was weeks later.
Yeah. I am on the phone with Libby after the little like date night thing, and like, oh my god, da, 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 getting out of my car.
Yeah, and
getting
it's like
my
3 in the
backpack,
morning.
stuff
It's
like
like
that.
3 in the morning.
And I look up from the car and like I see him walking down the street, and I'm just like, oh my god, Libby. Then I get real quiet and I hurry up inside, and then I shut the door and I'm like, Libby, I just saw him walking by my house. Like, I'm hella creeped out now. Like, I don't know if I can sleep here. And she's like, you can come over and stay the night at my house. And I was like, well, but this boy invited me to stay the night at his house, so I think I'm going to take him up on that offer. And at least if I'm this creeped out, get a little cozy with somebody and, like, brush it off and feel good, you know?
Yeah.
Because I'm ruthless.
So, did you hear that, Paul? You literally...
Okay, fine. You can say
You
it.
literally pushed her into something.
Caused me into, like...
If you just not been a creep and, like, done what she told you from the beginning, then you would have been just fine. You guys probably would have still been together.
No.
Oh, well, yeah. Never mind. Would have ended anyway. But you could have ended it on a better note.
Yep.
There you go. She was not about to marry you. So...
And then a few weeks later, I guess, or not even weeks later, I guess, like, he did that twice more, I believe.
Okay.
I don't really remember. And he would even, like, I blocked him on all social media, blocked him from being able to text me through my phone.
He
and
scared
then
the
he
shit out of
emailed
us.
me.
At...
If we go down tonight, the crazy kids, like, please someone
Call
just
the
come
police.
save
Call
us,
the
because
fucking
the dogs are
police.
going nuts.
This dog.
Well, I
Wow.
don't think that was him. I think that was just us being paranoid about the situation.
Yeah, like he
It was
had
just
us
3 of
all
us
fucked
girls,
up.
like, chilling, and this was a very, like, it had a lot of nice windows, like, it was a cute
It was
house.
basically a glass house.
Yeah,
in the
there were
front.
3 dogs there, just chilling, like, my roommates were out of town, so there was just 3 of us girls there, and mind you, like, 2 of my closest friends, who have been through all of this, or most of it, like, Lauren had gone through most of this with me, too, and so we all got creeped out, ended up calling the cops, and was like, y'all need to come by and, like, assess the situation, make sure there's no creeps outside, like, trying to break in and stalk us. And then that's when they even told us, like, yeah, girl, like, if you're scared, you need to file a PFA. Filled out the paperwork for the PFA.
I fucking printed the paperwork out and sent it to her or something like that. I think I sent it to you through email or something.
And then I end up,
you
like,
need to fucking
you know,
get on it.
he decides, okay, I'm done, I need to leave. Like, so he lets me know at this time that, like, I'm going to go back to California, da-da-da. I was like, okay, cool. Then I don't need to file this because he's going to be leaving. So, yeah.
Fast forward to 2 months later.
Yeah. He ends up, was in California for, like, 2 weeks, da-da-da. Went down to Texas, blah, blah, blah. Is traveling with work. And then goes from Texas to somewhere else, and it ends up passing through Kansas and stopping in Wichita and popping up at my work, and I'm just like, okay, that was creepy. He comes in, he's like, oh, I just want to work out. I was like, fine, please, just go work out, like, leave me alone. So that happens, then he comes out and sits and asks me to make him a smoothie, so I make him a smoothie, and then I get to where I'm like, okay, if I don't talk to him and, like, show that, you know, I'm more mature about this than being just a little girl, keep your friends close and your enemies closer. So I was just kind of, like, trying to see, like, okay, like, hey, what are you up to? Like, what are you doing here? Blah, blah. And then I texted Libby, blah, blah. I texted, like, one of his old coworkers, and those two ended up coming to the gym. Like, Libby came by after he had left. And she comes up and is basically like, he's parked right next to your car. And I'm just like, oh, God. I don't realize the seriousness of all of this, or at least I don't give it the amount of seriousness.
She doesn't get how serious it is. That dude is going to kill you. That's not normal behavior.
No, it's not. And then Libby and this friend who used to work with him wait until we close, walk me out to my car. He's still there. And before we go outside, Libby takes me.
I was literally just like,
By the shoulders.
I was literally just like, if you swear to God, if you even fucking look at him when you're walking out there, I'll fucking beat the shit out of you. I was literally like, you better fucking keep walking, you better not even say
don't
anything.
Even look at him.
Don't even look at him. Don't even do anything to him.
Don't.
You fucking walk to your car and you leave.
Boy opens the door, Libby walks out, and I walk out.
And I literally just like
keep book it to our cars.
Fucking going. And literally like we're walking like this, put your hand close to my hand. And he's like right there. Like we walked right past him. We were really close, which is creepy. I just feel like he was gonna grab me and like stab me in the throat. I don't know.
God.
He's weird. And then this is the finale. The icing on the cake of probably one of the creepiest things. I couldn't even imagine happening. I don't know if I would recover from that. So you got a tougher backbone than I do. And maybe this isn't that creepy, but it kind of is. It's pretty bad.
The next night, when I thought he was supposed to be leaving, he ended up not leaving. And his buddy that he used to work with actually messaged me on Facebook and was like, oh, by the way, like, Paul's at Club Rodeo. I was like, oh, cool, like, I'll avoid Club Rodeo. Well, midnight, I'm closing up. I'm the only one in the building. And you guys would not believe who the fuck just walked into Genesis. I locked the doors like 15 minutes ago. And then I'm literally like walking out of the gym because I was checking men's towels or something. And I'm walking and all of a sudden I see Paul and I literally feel everything in my body. Like, it was so weird. Like, it's like I stopped so quickly that everything in me shifted. And I was so shook up in that moment. I felt things inside of me shake. And I was like, what are you doing here? He's like, I came to say bye. And I was like, the doors are locked. He's like, no, they're not. Like, there was one open. And oof. I'm done.
And then he just walked out.
Yeah. Then he just walked out. And it was like, good. Done. We're done with this story.
Yeah.
Like, that's all the major
That's
parts.
it.
That's like, those are just the creepiest, scariest things that happened. Obviously there was a lot that led up to that, but I literally told Libby, like, let's just tell the last part of it, the crazy shit, like, that, you know, all those signs you ignore about guys and, like, moving in too soon with someone, and, like, there's reasons that our parents recommend things to us and that people give you advice and, like, you know, tell you, like, oh, I don't think it's a good idea. Listen to those people in your life, because when you don't, this is what happens. I am a living example.
At least you learned from it.
You know what? Like, yeah, and if that's all, that's why I'm posting this, is because if I can, like, help other people
learn from your
like, learn
mistakes.
from their, yeah, like, well,
and also, there's plenty of fish in the sea, sis. There are better fish.
Oh yeah,
There
like,
are
I'm
bigger
so,
and
like,
better fish.
legit, so happy that all of the crazy stuff went down. That's a good talk. I'm done. I don't know.
Okay.
I feel like I need an outro, but I don't know how to outro this.
Don't get killed by one of your crazy exes, and stay safe, folks. Peace. What up? Ooh, 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 ooh. Sorry, that was rude. My bad.
Like, like, cross your arm in my arm, like, through this way. I want to make, okay, there we go. That's pretty cool.
That's hilarious.